Yeah, just for info. I just got a call from the principal here at Irvington. Apparently they got a report of a male subject with a hoodie, and one of our students saw that he's had his 1072 on him. I'm going to contact to find out further.
10-4.
Yeah, it was just reported, so probably about within the last 3 minutes. Yeah, it started a couple units this way.
10-4. Yeah, a couple more units start toward Irvington High.
386, I'll go there. 1X16.
1X16, I'll share it also.
And just for info, we're going in lockdown mode.
681, I copy lockdown mode at Irvington High.
So apparently it's a male, unknown race, wearing a black hoodie, or a black or blue hoodie.
10-4 there, and 20.
It's in the freshman hallway, so it's going to be the one that's furthest east.
October 15th, 2014, during the school lunch hour at Irvington High School, a student reported seeing a suspicious male on the school campus. The student told the school principal the subject was carrying a pistol in his waistband and also had rifle magazines. The principal directly informed the school resource officer, who recognized the immense danger and possibility of this escalating into an active shooter incident. The SRO immediately gave the order to place the high school and the other nearby schools on lockdown based on the information of the weapon actually being seen. The school resource officer recognized the incident to be one of the most dangerous events law enforcement, students, and staff on a school campus can face. When calls for service like this one come out at a school, police personnel look to the school resource officer to provide knowledgeable guidance, unique intelligence, resources, and information that can greatly enhance the response to ensure the safety of the students and faculty, as well as the community surrounding the school. Hi, I'm Kimberly Peterson, Chief of Police with the Fremont Police Department. Thank you for spending some time with us today to hear our perspective on why we believe the School Resource Program is so critical for the safety of our schools and our children. First, I just want to acknowledge what has brought us here to this point. The senseless death of George Floyd on May 25th at the hands of police has caused communities across the nation to demand change from their police departments and a rededication to racial justice across our major systems, including policing, education, healthcare, and many others. I want to tell you without hesitation that Mr. Floyd's death has no place in policing. I can say unequivocally, an incident like this would not happen in Fremont. We hire the best people, train them to exceptional levels, and hold ourselves and one another accountable to the highest standards of behavior and professionalism. The sanctity of life is at the center of everything we do, and for us, the School Resource Program is part of those values. The main priority for the SRO program is the safety and protection of our children and staff members. According to CNN, between 2009 and 2019, there were at least 180 shootings on K-12 campuses, primarily high school campuses, and the numbers are increasing annually. Sandy Hook, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, these names are familiar to you. But in 2017, there were also 2 shootings at California high schools. Having a dedicated SRO on campus provides the ability for immediate intervention in this worst-case scenario. This matters because our median response time for emergency and priority 1 calls for regular patrol officers vacillates between 5.5 to 6.5 minutes. Fremont is a very large city of greater than 90 square miles. But much of the SRO's contribution to student safety is through prevention. The people who test for this assignment enjoy spending time with young people, and they build trusted relationships over time. Because of these relationships, we regularly prevent issues. One is fights. I can recall many a day when I was a young patrol officer, when the rumors would surface and make their way to the SRO about a fight after school or that was planned for the ball game, and the SROs were able to prevent those from happening. It's a frequent event that the SRO learns when students are sharing inappropriate photos of an unsuspecting student via social media, and the SRO again can intervene. Kids tell the SRO when someone is being bullied, and every single year, someone becomes concerned about the mental health of a friend who might be having suicidal ideation or talking about ending it all. SROs learn about these things and can then bring the right resources to bear for the student and their family, oftentimes preventing a suicide. Our SRO program has been a successful partnership with the Fremont Unified School District for over 20 years. Now you'll hear from some other stakeholders, such as community members, former students, and others, who will share their perspective on their experience with the SRO program. And we want to tell you more about all the other programs the SROs are involved in and why we think it's important for the program to continue. Thank you for spending time with us today.
First and foremost, my job is to make sure that the students, staff, any visitors that come on campus feel safe. Yes, we do all these roles, but our main function is something that's not easily replaced just by the training and what we're used to. I can go right into that. You have a police officer that's right there that can be boots on the ground to handle it, knowing what resources to provide. Do we need to have 10 cops come? Do we only need 1 or 2 cops to come? You know, what medical do we need? Just information on the actual student itself. Who's the student that's involved? The SRO's been there, has that relationship that I talked about before. Probably going to know who that student is, what issues that arise, and how to handle this situation versus I'm just getting called to campus, coming in blindly, and who do I talk to? What door is this? Where is this location at? Let's get the maps. I'm there, I can guide him in. I can tell you it's gonna be this student, it's here, this is the issue, this is what we need to coordinate everything, just to make it run smooth. And that also provides a level of confidence and people feeling secure. People in chaotic situations wanna have somebody that's there that's gonna take control to make things secure. We have 2 radios, and it's confusing because we have a school radio that's all for school, but we still have our police radio, we're still police officers. So it's a constant monitoring what's going on, not on campus all the time, but always what's going on around campus, because most of these schools in Fremont are in the middle of the neighborhoods or in the middle of busy streets. So it's very common that something spills over or comes close, but we are that barrier that's there for information flow, both to patrol and to the school, to ensure that patrol has everything they need, the school stays safe and has everything that they need. My goal is to fit in with that family unit. It really is a family unit where you have the principals, teachers, the parents, you have the students who are the kids, and all these different branches that all come together. Because ultimately, we're all there for the kids to make sure that they learn, get an education, and become productive members of society. Just because the students leave American High and I go home doesn't mean I'm done, right? Because for 4 years or however long they're at the school, they're a part of that family. So they fall under that umbrella. It's weird because I'll get brought into stuff that's not even necessarily law enforcement related, but just something like, hey, we have a problem with a kid. You know, do you have any kind of counseling service, or do you know of anything that we can do further? And because of that relationship I built, oh yes, we can, you know, call YFS. I have the YFS number. Let's go do it this way. Or, oh, I've dealt with a situation before with another kid before. Oh, you have? And then I can act that way. A lot of times I'll even take it to, depending on what it is, we're gonna work with the family too. So maybe they haven't even told their family members. So I will help facilitate that, whether they want me there or not, give them ideas on how to do it, talk with the family, work through problems. And that could be anything from child abuse to some kind of mental health issues to even some kinds of crimes. Maybe the law, police arrest route's not the best route. Maybe it's, okay, let's get this kid into counseling. Let's talk to the parents and work with the parents on this. There's a lot of school-based training. We're a part of NASRO, which is a National School Resource Officer organization. So they put on a conference every year that our department attends. That includes classes on drugs, different type of drugs you might see in school, everything to dealing with kids in crisis, simple child psychology, how to talk to kids, how to take a report from a teenager or a kid that's different than an adult. Not like a one class, one thing that you can do, but just having that training just backs up what you already have as a police officer. So I know how to use my police officer skills that are best gonna benefit me in this situation. I'm not gonna just come at this kid and talk to him like he's a 40-year-old man or 40-year-old woman. I'm gonna talk to him like you're a 16-year-old. And I know what you're talking about, and I can understand you. We can speak in slang. We can speak how you want to speak. We can do whatever you want to do. I feel you. I can empathize with you, and we can make this work. I've been fortunate enough at my school where the gang issues haven't been as bad. I've been around when they have been. I know at a neighboring school had issues like that came up. The SRO played a role in that because before the issues even got to the point of where they erupted into violence, he started to get information like, I know who these kids are. This is the problems that we're seeing. I'm already trying to work with the principals and the teachers. That issue ended up being a large fight that did occur on campus, and that officer instantly knew who these kids were from all the work he did. And I came over to assist, was able to, this is the location it's at, this is what they're wearing, these are their names. And like I talked about before, when those resources come in, it's able to corral those resources, put them in the right area. There ended up being 8 students that were giving citations, and then all 8 of those happened to be Hispanic students. If you look at the numbers of them arrested, yes, it's a lot, but if you take that one incident out of the equation, there's not that many. Not everybody gets arrested, and arrest isn't what people think it is. So a lot of people, when they hear arrest on school, it's the police officer put handcuffs on his kid, put him in the back of a car, and drove him off to juvenile hall or drove him off to the jail. That's not what happens. That rarely happens. In cases that happens, that's a higher threshold, something very serious. And while that is something that could happen, generally what happens is a couple things. One is just called an admonishment. So that's where we'll usually meet with the parents, principals, teachers, whatever. We kind of explain, this is what you did wrong. This is why you don't want to do that. That's wrong, because these are the different outcomes that can happen. And we all sit down, the kid's like, you know what, sorry, I'm not going to do that anymore. I didn't mean it. Other options are we kind of just stay out of it and let the school handle it. Sometimes school discipline is the most appropriate discipline because kids do things that kids do. So sometimes I'm going to stay out of this. I think the school and what the school deals with your parents is the best thing. The thing that most people believe an arrest is our notice to appear. It's usually a citation. So parents come in, you talk to the kid, you issue them out a citation. That citation goes to juvenile probation. The kid's not physically arrested. For counting it for numbers purposes, it counts as an arrest, but the kid is free to go home, goes home with parents. They may or may not be suspended from school. There have been some times when NTA has been issued and the kid just turns around and comes back to school the next day. That happens. Here at Fremont and Union City and Newark, we have this thing called the diversion program. So when a kid gets that NTA, instead of it going straight to juvenile probation and the kid having to deal with going down to juvenile court and doing all that, we go, hey kid, this is your first time, you messed up. It was to the point where we don't think school discipline or admonishment would be the best thing because maybe you did something a little bit more serious than that and we can't just say no harm, no foul. So what it is, we work with one of our counselors from Youth and Family Service that comes here, Kathleen Brown, and they ended up meeting with the parents and figuring out why the kid is doing what he's doing. Is there issues at home? Does he have like anger issues? Is he anxious? What's going on with him? And then they'll find out what's going on with them. If it's drug related, maybe some drug classes. So education, counseling, community service, all those things to kind of not only just be a punishment, but also trying to, at the end of this, you help that kid out. And in the end, if they complete this program, they get a certificate. Juvenile probation never sees this. The kid goes on and kind of learns a lesson. Like, I feel like I'm a better person. That was wrong. I've learned I was wrong, but I'm not bad. And that's what we tend to go to. Kids aren't bad, per se. Kids are products of what they grow up, their environment. One thing can shift a kid from being what people call bad to something that's good. It's not our job to drop the hammer down for a teenager being a teenager. Yes, some things they do are more serious than others and they have to be handled accordingly, but we don't want to be in that typical pipeline to prison, as people like to call it, where we're just sending kids down that path. If anything, we always try to steer away, and being the SRO, having that relationship with the parents and the counselors and the teachers and all that, that's where we try to steer the kid and try to stay out of it as much as possible on that end and just figure out what is best for this kid. Some kids you can tell them that's wrong. Some kids you have to ground them and tell them that's wrong. It just depends. Each case is different from the other.
So diversion program is a program that we created here in the city to divert youth from the criminal justice system. So when they were getting cited for crimes that they were committing, we were diverting them from Alameda County Probation or the court, so they were coming here and being able to get services instead of going into the justice system. So our services currently, they're including mental health services or substance use treatment or other services to address the deeper issues of why they're committing crimes. So we look at the why and try to understand what's causing their issues as to why they're acting out. A lot of times kids will act out their anger, depression, anxiety, and it's coming out in ways that are impacting their daily functioning at school or at home. And a lot of times that's what we're getting to the root of as to why they're causing an impact in the community or at school or at home. So when we're trying to get them before they've been on the 6th, 7th, 8th arrest, and they're now on probation and they've now given up hope. We get kids that don't even know what a coping skill is or a trigger is. So we're trying to teach them that at a younger age. By the time they get into the criminal justice system, they have gone farther down that rabbit hole to go, I've already got all these people that have given up on me. And so we're trying to give them people who actually will support them and not give up on them. And so those are the types of hope we're trying to give a child. We run an average of about 90% of our kids who have been successful. And by successful, meaning they have never been rearrested. And we run it about a 10-year data study so that they don't get rearrested. From the day they get arrested, we run it forward. So we try to make sure that our kids are successful, and we try to track those data numbers. So of those 90% of kids that we keep successful, and I've had kids call me in the future and say, I have one kid that went and got hired by the FAA. I have one kid that, several kids that have gone into the military and sent me pictures of them being successful and thank you for supporting us. So these are kids that have gone on to do successful things. The support, the benefit of being in the diversion program is their case has never gone to juvenile probation. There's no record. There's no record to seal. Like kids will always say to me, do I have to get my record sealed at 18? There's no record. Their case is just, they have a contact here at Fremont PD, but there's no record. It's important that they get the citation because that's what holds them accountable to have to come into treatment. My concern is if we had no SROs, we would probably see a lot less kids referred. Our numbers would drop dramatically and they would fall through the cracks, and I think a lot less kids would get served. We often hear the pipeline to prison. We've been hearing that for years. I think that's out there. I mean, we talk about the kids that go that route and the kids that get arrested and they're going to end up in juvenile hall and they're going to get into the system, and then when they become adults, they go farther down the road. I think that the work that we've done with the diversion program, and I would say 80% of our cases have come from the school resource officers that I've worked with very closely. I think one of the benefits that we have is because I work and my team works so closely with the school resource officers and the schools here in Fremont, that when there's cases that are popping up and we're seeing those kids, we collaborate so closely on what the youth needs. And I think there's that collaboration of how to support that kid and how to get them into diversion. And when they come into our program, how do we support that kid getting the resources we need? So I think that collaboration has diverted kids out of that system. Kids who've gone back to their school resource officers who've supported them getting back, even though they have a citation, have gotten them back into their schools and gotten them on sports teams and guided them into getting back into their community, getting back engaged into their school community. So I think that's where we divert them out of the prison to pipeline, in that they can now see these individuals as positive supports, that they're not the negative person who's here to take them to jail and put them in the prison to pipeline, but they're here to guide them.
If you have an SRO on campus and a 5150 with an immediate danger to self or other crisis appears, the SRO is going to be able to more quickly provide the ambulance services and write the 5150 in order to get the client that immediate assistance that they need. So the SRO can ensure that the 5150 is written and that the client is able to get to emergency services immediately. What the clinician social worker is able to do is then provide that follow-up care and advocate that the client does receive the proper care needed to ideally reduce recidivism and get proper treatment for the student suffering a mental health crisis. Some designated and selected county clinicians are able to write 5150s. However, they are for the entire county as a small team, which is the county mobile crisis team. So they are responding to many calls for services in the county.
So being on campus and knowing the background of some of the students and knowing what they're going through, they are sometimes referred to our diversion program. And one of our counselors, Kathleen Brown, who works within our police department and works with Youth and Family Services, I have an arm reach to her. I talk about this arm reach relationship, and I'm able to reach out to Kathleen. Maybe I'm working on something on campus and maybe I walk by a student and something doesn't seem right. I check in with them briefly between classes. Hey, are you okay? What's going on? And I learned that we are more of a heavy counseling role within the schools. In my school, at Irvington High School, I'm kind of referred to as the sixth counselor there, and it's been really it's been really challenging. But at the same time, there's a lot of advantages that I have being a police officer and being on campus and working as another one of the counselors there. So by being there for them, I mean, even though I'm in uniform and I'm the police, I think that the relationship and the trust that we're able to build as school resource officers enables these kids to come to us with an array of different things, and it's kind of funny. You're never going to know what a student's going to come up to say to you each day. It may be coming up to you to say hello, or they're going to come with a heavy-duty family issue. But you can see that level of trust, and you can see that relationship build when they do come to you. And I see that when I see a student come in, and all of a sudden they're pulling a friend with them, and it's like, can they talk to you? Absolutely, come on in, because I'm able to help this student. And it kind of spreads, and they know that they can come to me and come to us, and we're gonna do the best we can to help them. Not only are they able to come to me and feel that level of trust, but now they're able to come to me, and if it's a police issue, I'm able to address it, as opposed to having to go through this person, and this person. It's really invaluable. And I can make that assessment. Whereas it might seem to be something of greater magnitude, but when I look at it and I'm able to kind of analyze it, maybe I'm able to go straight to counseling mode, or maybe straight over to a family's house and kind of resolve that situation right then and there, or right at that afternoon, as opposed to having to go kind of around the gamut to get to somebody who can actually reach out to the student's needs or to the family's needs. Not having SROs on campus, I think there would be a great loss, but the loss wouldn't be felt until we were gone. The average response time for Fremont Police to respond to an emergency is about 5 minutes. The average response for me on campus, it's just a matter of where that location is. It's a matter of seconds. So the role of the SRO, I think, there's a lot of underlying things that are not, statted or measured or even seen. So there was a student of mine, Ezra, at Irvington High School. Her counselor and I kind of, talked one day, and her counselor was concerned. She was missing school. Grades were slipping, and kind of saw that there was some issues going on there. I could see she felt comfortable and needed that little bit of extra guidance, which it's good to be able to help somebody, but it's also good to see what the end result is.
After leaving Irvington High School, I would like to go ahead and give a quick shout out to Officer Lavona for helping me out, and Kennedy High School for accepting me regardless of my past. Mom, I'm sorry for everything that I put you through, and I hope this moment right here makes you proud. Thank you.
I first encountered Officer Lovano on Irvington School campus freshman year, which happened to be in my rebellious days. He became more familiar with me as my office visits increased. As a school officer he is, I feel like he was the neutral person I can confide in. Fast forward to sophomore year, I went through a personal family crisis shortly after I made friends with a bad influence who peer pressured me into selling drugs at school. Officer Lovano was there for me as moral support even after I got caught. I'm thankful for having him guide me every step of the way. Coming from a broken family, I never really had a father figure. Officer Lovano played a strong support system for me during those difficult times. Growing up, nowadays on TV and social media, police officers are painted as a bad guy. I feel like SROs have the opportunity to make a positive impact on teenagers. And I gotta say, he's the coolest cop I've met.
It's been 20 years since I was a resource officer at Centerville Junior High, and I think back and I think, my God, that's been 20 years. Because I don't think I've ever left that position in some respects, because we have relationships. Rick and I, my husband Rick, was the school resource officer at Washington High School. So we have some relationships with these kids that go back 20 years. We really need to keep this school resource officer program going, because if you could change the life of one individual, that's worth it. And I've talked to so many different SROs, and they all have stories of lives changed. If you could make that change for somebody, if you can give a child or a student a chance at success by just something small that you do on campus for them, it's worth it.
In Fremont, if we don't have any issues going on with SRO or police department in general, why are we trying to relate Fremont SRO program with someone else's SRO or someone else's police department? So I think inspiration needs to change. We need to look at local issues first and get inspired by local examples instead of getting inspired by the national examples. SROs being our eyes and ears on the campus has really helped us. And for me, I look at SROs as a partnership between parents, students, administration, and the city. So when we have this huge, great partnership which has worked for years, why do we want to destroy it?
During the time that I served as the superintendent of the Fremont School District, the School Resource Officer program was one of the strengths. It was a pillar of safety for that community. I'm worried about the possibility of discontinuing that program. I'm worried because it's not good for students, it's not good for school staff, and it's not good for the community. The amount of information sharing, the amount of collaboration to keep schools safe that happens when we have that SRO program is really, really valuable. We had a very serious incident in 2014 at Irvington High School. I have vivid memories of what happened from the beginning of that incident, when I got the first phone call and headed over to Irvington High School, to the time the incident was resolved. And to me, it was an amazing experience. I was impressed that the resources that the police department brought to bear on that situation. I was impressed with the communication with parents, the communication with school staff. I was totally impressed with the number of officers who put their life on the line to go onto that campus and make sure that every teacher and student was as safe as they could be. From the beginning until the end, that incident taught me that there is a huge value in the partnership of the SRO program, not just in what it provides for students, but in what it does to keep our campuses safe and secure every day.
A few final pieces of note. Earlier this year, the school district sent out a survey to students, staff, parents, as well as alumni, asking how they felt about the SRO program. The majority of respondents expressed their support for the program continuing. One thing that is true is that things happen on campus that will require police response. We believe that having a specially trained, self-selected person who wants to be on the campus, who wants to build those relationships, who understands the school culture, provides a much higher level of service to the staff, to the students, and to all of you watching this video. We hope that you choose to continue this program going forward.